Alright, I was bored and I wanted to talk about this today because I went to NeoGAF and other sites, and they're still talking about how the gap is going to be so big on the Xbox Series X side over the PS5. But the truth of the matter is, it really isn't. Because this gen, the gap between these two is going to be potentially half, or even possibly less than half of the gap last gen. Gotta remember, guys, we had on PS4 base versus Xbox One base, we had a 38 to almost 40% lead in PS4 power, right? That reversed with the mid-gen refreshes, with the Xbox One X being 43% more powerful than the PS4 Pro, right? So, but this gen is going to be different because you have the 12.15 teraflops Xbox Series X versus the 10.3 max teraflops of PS5, right? So you're only going to see a 20% lead in GPU power on the Series X this time, which is basically half, at best. You gotta take into other factors, though. You gotta take into the slower SSD, the still as of yet known I/O stuff that the Xbox Series X will be doing, which was basically, if it was anywhere near as good as the PS5, they would have talked about it already. And you got that split RAM problem. And yes, people, it's split RAM. You can't spin it into both of it being the same RAM, but the same speed RAM, but with different pipelines. No, it is two different speeds of RAM. You got 10 gigs of 560 gigabytes per second RAM versus an additional 6 gigs of what was it? 384 gigs of RAM. That's a huge gap. Now, in the balance factor, that just goes right into the PS5 with 448 gigabytes of RAM all around. Now, people that are talking about how they can't wait for Digital Foundry, this, that, and the other, well, there's a lot of things to consider. Especially when it comes to Xbox quote-unquote exclusives. Number one, you're not going to really see any console exclusives for the first couple of years because you still got to take into consideration the Xbox One and Xbox One X. That's one. Number two, there's still Lockhart to consider. The Xbox Series S, as everybody is calling it now. That's another problem. You have to cater for all these other platforms, thus making it harder for devs to bring the max out of the Series X. When you're an Xbox developer and you have to think about all these other platforms, yeah, you're not going to be able to bring out the best that your most powerful console is going to be capable of. And even then, any games that do look better on Xbox Series X and then the PS5, it's going to be a lot smaller than last gen. It's going to be a lot smaller than last gen. Anybody that's waiting for Digital Foundry and just wants to laugh at inferior PS5 multiplats, they're going to be laughing at minuscule crap as minuscule as maybe 1 or 2 frames per second advantage, or just a slightly higher resolution. And that's it. Meanwhile, Sony's going to be coming in with their actual PS5 exclusives, and they're going to wow people again with what their first parties are going to be capable of. Whether they be Naughty Dog, whether they be Santa Monica, whether they be Insomniac, whether they be Sucker Punch, heck, maybe even whether they be Sony Bend, heck, maybe even San Diego will wow us with the newest MLB game. Even though in a couple of years that's going to go to every other platform on the face of the earth. But anybody that's looking for a slaughter from Digital Foundry or any other comparisons in the coming years are asking for themselves to be disappointed. And if anybody's really worried about buying multiplats on PS5, they're gonna look good. They're gonna look good. If you really want a PS5 and get multiplats on that, you're not going to be embarrassed by having an inferior looking product, because this time it's just not going to be that deficient. It really isn't. Yos one out.